She didn't just betray our vows, she welcomed a predator into our lives. While I was building our future, she was destroying it behind my back with a man whose past should terrify any parent. I trusted her with everything, my love, my children, my peace. But when fantasy blurred into obsession and denial turned into defense, I realized she wasn't just lost, she was dangerous. So I stopped pleading. I started planning. Because some betrayals don't deserve forgiveness, they demand consequences. I thought I'd built a life worth protecting, wife, kids, a house that felt like peace. I'm 35, deep in the tech grind, pulling 50-hour weeks to keep everything running, and for years, I believed I was coming home to stability, to love. She was magnetic, stunning, composed, the kind of woman people notice without trying. But more than that, she was a mother who seemed born for it, intuitive, gentle. I trusted her without question. But masks always cracked eyes started with online games. At first, I thought it was harmless, maybe even good for her, a way to ease the loneliness of stay-at-home life. But soon, it consumed her. Nights disappeared into the screen. Mornings started with bloodshot eyes and silence. The kids, ignored. Meals, forgotten. Conversations, snapped shut before they began. When I asked her to come to bed, she'd snarl, 5 more minutes. Those minutes turned into entire nights. The warmth disappeared. She stopped looking at me, stopped asking about my day. I'd come home to a ghost in sweatpants and a cold plate on the table if I was lucky. She became combative, defensive, emotionally unavailable. Her world shrank into pixels and messages. Then a name started popping up. John. He gets me, she said once, offhand. My gut clenched. Her voice changed when she said his name. There was too much comfort in it. I pressed carefully. She snapped, said I was controlling, that I couldn't handle her happiness. She weaponized my concern and called it possession. You're just jealous, she spat. I finally have something that's mine. She twisted reality until I doubted myself. Maybe I was the problem. Maybe I was insecure. But the signs were everywhere. Whispers at night, hidden phone calls, sudden giggles that died the second I walked into the room. So I watched closely. John wasn't just a username. He was real. Out of state, a man with a criminal past and ugly, documented one. His offenses involving minors, and not one, several. This wasn't a smear or misunderstanding. This was confirmed. I got the files myself. I confronted her. She didn't flinch. You don't know him, she said. Those charges were fake. He's a good man caught in a bad system. She defended him. Over me, over our children. Then she began planning a future with him. A future that included my kids. That was my breaking point. I stopped pleading. I started preparing. I gathered everything: voice messages, letters, screen recordings, proof of her conversations, proof of her sending him money, calling the prison, romantic chats. At worst, her saying he should live with us when he got out, that he could help raise the kids. She said he'd be a better father than me. Let that sink in. A convicted predator, better than me. I got a lawyer. Fast. I built a case airtight and brutal. Sent everything to Child Protective Services. Froze the bank accounts. Isolated the damage. Got emergency custody. Then I contacted the prison. Got official documentation, not rumors, facts. Multiple convictions. Repeat offender. No chance this man was innocent. The day the judge saw what I brought forward, everything shifted. She lost custody. Visitation suspended. And every person who ever thought she was composed, elegant, nurturing, they saw what I saw now. A woman willing to risk her children for a fantasy built on lies. She didn't fall in love. She fell into delusion, and she tried to drag our family into it. I didn't let her. She gambled everything for a man she never met. I made sure she lost, and I kept what mattered. My children, my peace, my power. Once I uncovered the truth, I didn't just react. ISTRATEGIZED. My wife wasn't confused. She was consumed, obsessed with a man named John, a stranger behind bars, with a rap sheet longer than his online chats. I sought legal advice, learned my rights, and started documenting everything. Her judgment was too far gone to salvage. She wasn't just lost, she was a risk, and I wasn't going to let my children pay the price. When I confronted her, I presented everything: files proving John's convictions, voice recordings of her defending him, proof of her neglect. I calmly told her I was filing for divorce and demanding full custody. She didn't plead. She didn't reflect. She lashed out. She called me jealous, controlling, abusive. She said she'd ruin me, take the kids, turn everyone against me. But none of her threats held weight. I had hard evidence. I had truth, and the courtroom saw it. The judge listened to her voice, justifying the presence of a felon near our kids. He read through reports of her emotional neglect and dangerous decisions. The ruling was swift. Full custody granted to me, no visitation. And then she did the unthinkable. Instead of fighting to be a mother, she packed up and left. She moved closer to the prison to be near him. She chose John. She didn't look back, didn't call, didn't even say goodbye to the children she once claimed to love. Telling my kids their mom was gone broke something in me. I became both protector and nurturer. I reorganized my life, brought in support, gave them the stability she couldn't. Counseling, structure, love. Slowly, the confusion in their eyes gave way to trust, to peace. Months later, John was released, and true to her delusion, she was there. They moved in together, but fantasy collided with reality. He violated parole and landed back in the system she had traded her children, her dignity, her entire life for. A man who dragged her further into darkness. Do I feel sorry for her? Maybe, but she had chances, and she chose ruin. As for me, I found clarity. I found strength I never knew I had, and most importantly, I saved my children. They're thriving now, safe, stable. Hold out. They ask about her sometimes, and I tell them the truth without bitterness, without lies. They deserve honesty, not illusions. They deserve to know they were never the problem. What this taught me is simple and brutal. You can't rescue someone determined to drown, but you can keep your children from going under with them. I've become an advocate for parents dealing with emotional infidelity, fantasy obsessions, and online relationships that destroy real families. I've seen what happens when someone trades reality for delusion and the wreckage it leaves behind. If you're in a similar storm, hear this: trust your instincts, document everything, and fight. Because your children deserve more than someone's fantasy. They deserve you.